Boca Raton, this is your local real estate market update. I'm Larry Mastrapuri, a broker here in Boca Raton. Now, let me fill you in on what's happening in our market as of April 1st. Let's kick this off by looking at the average sale price data from March of 2023 and compare it to March of 2024. You can see we've experienced a crazy 60% increase in the average sale price. So, according to this stat, homes are worth 60% more than they were at the same time last year. Now, you don't need to be in the real estate market to guess that that statistic feels a little off. Now, this stat is 1 month, March of this year compared to March of last year, as I said. So let's take a quick look at the trend line to see if this is really consistent. And you can see here, the trend line shows that the average sale price has been steadily climbing, with a little noise here and there over the past 12 months, especially January through March. But now, before we jump to any conclusions, we should really cross-check the average data with the median data to make sure there's no random large deals that are skewing our analysis. And if we look at the median sales price data from March of 2024 and compare it to March of 2023, you can see we've experienced a crazy 24% increase in the median sales price. These are big numbers. The trend line of the median sales price graph tells a similar story of price growth, but obviously not as dramatic as the average sales price data. The pending data on this graph also suggests that April will be very similar. Remember, pending data is a leading indicator, while closed data is a lagging indicator. So properties seem to be steadily increasing in value here in Boca Raton, but as an agent with 35 plus active listings on the market right now, I'm not necessarily feeling that this is true for every property. So let's take a look at other data points to really see what's happening here. This is a good one. The sale to original list price ratio shows that a lot more homes are selling for less than their original asking price. In the crazy days, March, April, May of 2022, most properties were selling for the asking price or even higher. Now properties are selling for about 7 to 8% less than their original asking price on average. And this stat has been relatively consistent over the past 12 months. Next, let's get into the days on market data. Monitoring this trend is a great way to understand if our market's slowing or accelerating. And if you're new to our videos, let me quickly define what days on market are. But first, hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. Now, days on market data is the time between a property being actively listed on the market or the MLS and getting a signed purchase agreement, not till the date it's closed, a signed purchase agreement. So if similar homes in the area are taking longer to sell, that really could signal a slowing market, possibly slowing demand. When we look at the average cumulative days on market data from March of 2024 and compare it to March of 2023, it's even. The average home in Boca Raton will be under contract in 67 days. Since 2022, we've seen the days on market increase slowly, but now the trend seems to have leveled off during the winter selling season. And 67 days on market really signals that there is a healthy demand for homes in Boca Raton. If you compare 2022 to 2024, the average days on market increase was from 35 to 67. And quick little history fact for you, the average days on market between 2015 and 2019 was in the 80s. And remember, usually properties move at their highest velocity in the months of February through May, so we are currently in our high season right now. The number of listings graph also has a pretty interesting story to tell us. This data helps us understand the current and anticipated inventory in the Boca Raton real estate market. And we all know real estate prices are a function of supply and demand. So let's discuss the supply. In March of 2024, our real estate market closed 432 homes, and we added 747 new active listings. That's 10% less homes sold than the same time last year, which I'm not really worried about. But if we watch the trend line here, we can see active listings are increasing, which means inventory is going up. The amount of listings going under contract have gone up a bit too, but even during this hot season for selling homes, we are adding more inventory than we are closing/putting under contract. And this has really been the trend for the past 12 months or so. Now, as mentioned earlier, existing home sales is considered a lagging indicator. The majority of transactions usually involve a mortgage, which takes 30 or 60 days to close. So existing home sales data most likely includes contracts which were signed a month or two before they actually are reported as sold. As of April 1st, we are seeing a 36% increase in inventory compared to the same time last year. That's a pretty big number. This is interesting because inventory levels are getting close to the 2019 era. Inventory today is still about 13% less than December of 2019, as an example. So I think the takeaway here is that inventory is steadily increasing, but it's still historically low. Also note that 14% less homes went under contract in March of 2024 when compared to March of 2023. So this information right here is why I said in the field, it doesn't feel like prices are going up as much as the sold data suggests. It doesn't always feel like it's a seller's market. Homes are sitting on the market longer in some cases, and buyers are able to negotiate a lot more today. Speaking of a seller's market versus a buyer's market, how do we really know where we're at right now? Well, the absorption rate is a good way to gauge this. So what's the absorption rate? The simplest way for me to explain this is it shows how long the current inventory of properties on the market would last at the current rate of sales. So a quick example of this is if no new properties were added to the market and sales continued at a steady pace, the absorption rate indicates the number of months required to sell all the properties on the market. The absorption rate trend here in Boca Raton has been absolutely changing. The absorption rate is now 5.71 months, which is much higher than it was a year ago at 4.04 months. Typically, a 6-month absorption rate is considered a neutral market, and anything above that is a buyer's market, and anything obviously below that is a seller's market. So you can see we are transitioning from a seller's market to a more neutral / buyer's market. It's important to know that historically the absorption rate has been in the 5s. That's all the data I wanted to cover today. So thank you again for sticking it out with me to the very end. But let me share my final thoughts with you before I let you go. The recent surprise here was price growth. All other indicators suggest that price growth should be slowing more than it really showed up as. And I still believe that we will continue to see price growth fall as more inventory is added to the market. And I'm not saying prices will fall per se, I'm just saying price growth will continue to slow. And my actual experience in the field is similar. Good product right now, the homes that check all the boxes for buyers will continue to experience high demand, while product that is less than desirable will be harder to sell. This is very typical in a market that has increasing inventory or waning demand. And right now, it's obvious that buyers have more negotiating power in a transaction overall. In most cases, inspection periods are back to 7 to 10 days, and loan commitment periods are 21 to 30 days. As an example, in 2021 and 2022, these numbers were much lower, if not zero. And here's the thing. Overall, I think where we are and where we are trending is healthy for the market. So thank you again, guys, for tuning in. I'm Larry Mastropieri, broker owner of the Mastropieri Group right here in Boca Raton. And we sell more homes than any other agent in Boca Raton. So if you have any questions about the market, please don't hesitate to reach out. See you on the next one.